had a psychiatrist years ago. I'll never forget her. She was Hindu, Indian. I believe she said she was a Buddhist. She had the dot right here, whatever religion that is, but she had the red dot. She was an Indian woman, and real Indian from India. And that was like one of only 3 psychiatrists that I've ever had in my whole life that I was able to and felt comfortable and secure with opening up to being 100% honest. Because certain things you say in a psychiatrist's office could land you in a mental institution, so you gotta be careful. And when I told her when I opened up to her and was honest with her about my feelings, my thoughts, my beliefs, she responded in a way that stuck with me to this day. You know, telling her I feel unaccomplished, worthless, hopeless. You know, this was, I don't know, 8 years ago, something like that. But anyway, she said, you don't think like most people. And she said that has nothing to do with your diagnosis of depression or PTSD or whatever label they want to give you. This was so refreshing to have a professional. I think it had a lot to do, it had everything to do with her background. She wasn't from America, she was from India. And she had a different belief system than the average American. It was so good to sit with her and talk with her. She said, you're not worthless or hopeless, and you're not, it's not that you're not ambitious. She said, but when you know the things that you know, and you think the way that you think, trivial day-to-day stuff loses its importance. It doesn't matter. You're not interested in attaining wealth so that you could go shopping. She's the one who said to me, but you do need money, because if you love animals and you want to rescue animals, you need money in this country. I forget exactly what she said, but the meaning behind what she said stuck with me. She said, you're not lazy, unaccomplished, hopeless. She said, but your depression kicks in because you don't have the glasses, what we call, Americans call rose-colored glasses. She said, you see beyond things that the average person, and she had a heavy Indian accent, but she said, no, you're not crazy. You don't sound crazy to me. She said, I'm trying to remember, you know, she said, a lot of your depression comes from the fact that, she said, I honestly don't think there's a chemical imbalance. She said, you see things in a different way than most people. She said, she's been practicing, she's an older woman. She was practicing psychiatry for a very long time. She was well up in her 50s, I would say. But she said, you're depressed because you don't feel like it matters. Your depression is coming from, okay, so now that I know that this is nonsense. Now, these might not be her exact words verbatim, but basically, I'm trying to recall the conversations and group them all together to explain what she said to me. She said, you see through the nonsense. And you're like, what's the point? This is me putting in my words. And she said, so it's not that you don't have ambition or you're worthless or you don't have what they have or what she has or what he has. It's like you don't want those things because you realize how irrelevant they are. Because you see things on a bigger level. Maybe not as far as cosmic, but I try to see things cosmically. She said, but your vision is a lot broader, and that's why you don't strive. She said she says, and I was on medication at the time, and she lowered my dose, and she was like, you know, you don't need to be turned into a vegetable or a zombie. If that was a gift that the universe gave me, that my spirit guides directed me to her, led me to her, because like I said, I've been in and out of psychiatrist's office since I attempted suicide at 16. And this woman is one of 3 people in all the years that I've been in and out. Happy Thanksgiving of psychiatry. She stood out because the things that I told this woman, this psychiatrist, could have landed me in a mental institution by American medical standards. Do you hear voices? Do you talk to yourself? Do you see things? Well, instead of saying, well, maybe you're clairvoyant, or maybe you have second sight, or, in the medical field, they don't look at the metaphysical or spiritual meaning behind mental illness or things. They just say, okay, she's crazy. Dope her up with some medications to help her sleep and to keep her like a zombie. And she even told me one time, she gave me, I got Xanax, clonazepam, Zoloft. And I remember doctors telling me, we don't even know how these medications work. We're just told to give it to you. Pharmaceutical companies, that's another story. But I just wanted to say that really quickly. Sometimes, this is Thanksgiving, I don't do holidays. I'm going to go find food, that's for sure. But I don't do American holidays and Christmas and Thanksgiving and all that foolishness. But, my mom passed away many years ago on December 29th. The holidays, religiously, they don't have any meaning for me. Thanksgiving doesn't have any meaning for me as a Black woman in America, a first-generation American. For anybody that's like me, that doesn't really care about the holidays, if anything, it just makes you reflect harder and realize that, for anybody that's not really feeling, excited about the holidays, or they get depressed around this time of the year, let me tell you what my psychiatrist told me. Sometimes people will say she's crazy, mental illness, depression, this or that. Maybe you just see shit for what it really is, and you realize most of the shit that's going on is bullshit and nonsense, and you just don't want to take part in it. Maybe you just don't have on your rose-colored glasses, and you feel like, what's the point? But there is a point. I'm going to get into that another time. I don't have the energy to do it right now. Spiritually, my energy, I've been channeling this morning. I realized that I'm going to accept it for what it is. And I listen to myself, and I don't sound like myself. And then I realize what's going on. But that's another vlog. So if you're home today, Thanksgiving Day, hopefully you have the money to go get yourself food or whatever. But you're reflecting, and you're feeling unaccomplished or restless or sad or depressed or whatever the feeling is, give yourself some credit. Okay? Look at things from a different perspective, because that's who you are. You don't look at things the same. Sometimes our sadness and depression comes from the fact that we are trying to force ourselves, people like us are trying to force ourselves to look at things the way everybody looks at things, or society says we're supposed to look at things. And that's not who you are. You're not the same. You're different. You're special. Everybody wants to be special. But truly, listen, sometimes your depression is kicking in because you're looking at things like you're everybody else, and like you think like everybody else, but you're not. So when you let go of other people's expectations of you, and you accept, which is what I'm really starting to do. I'm coming into a season where I'm going to get up on here and I'm going to start talking what a lot of people are going to consider nonsense. But some of you will hear me. Hear me. Let go of those expectations. Embrace who you are, how you think, what you believe, and what Spirit is telling you. And then the depression will start to lift, because then you're going to be looking at it looking at life, looking at your circumstances through your own lenses, not society's lenses. When you do that, you're going to see a difference in your mood, in your feelings, in everything. Everything will start to improve because your mood will start to improve. Your thoughts will start to improve, and you'll start realizing there's nothing wrong with you. Maybe you're waking up when everyone else is still asleep, but there's nothing wrong with you. And there are people out here that think like you. Fewer and far between than the average. But there are people out here that think like you. And if you're watching this and you can relate to what I'm saying, they'll start to make themselves visible to you. And you'll start to realize it. You'll start to get signs. So, don't be sad, don't be depressed. Be happy you're here and be grateful for every little thing. Start there. Start with gratitude. And smile. Even if it's a fake smile, because when you do this, look, see, I'm being still silly, but it's making me feel happy and want to laugh because I'm being so stupid. So put a fake smile on and then it'll turn into a real smile.